Welcome to Breaking News from English 123 with the latest domestic and international stories. I'm Jessica Driver. Let's get started with the domestic stories. First up, Vietnamese trade grew strongly yesterday, driving up stock indices on both exchanges. On the Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange, the VN Index added another 0.61% to close at 570.36 points, with the advancers tripling the decliners. Overall trading was good as the market volume soared 50% over the previous session to nearly 63.4 million shares, worth 496 billion Vietnam dong, $23.5 million US. Foreign investors continued to be net buyers on both exchanges yesterday. They picked up a combined 64.4 billion Vietnam dong, $3.1 million worth of shares. Now we move to political news. The Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, will pay a 2-day official visit to Vietnam starting today. The visit, made at the invitation of Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Tân Dung, aims to strengthen diplomatic and economic relations. The discussion is expected to focus on the Netherlands' strengths, including climate change know-how, water management, agriculture, marine-based agriculture, oil, gas, energy, and logistics. Dutch companies will also meet with Vietnamese to discuss and sign business deals. In other news, Vietnam's top chess players Le Quang Liam and Nguyen Ngoc Chuang Son will compete in the 2014 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships in Dubai between June the 15th and the 21st. The prize pool for each event, Rapid and Blitz, is $200,000 US, with respective winners to be awarded $40,000 each. And here are the international headlines. US President Barack Obama said that Russian President Vladimir Putin must recognize and work with Ukraine's newly elected government and stop provocations along its border, or face tougher sanctions from members of the G7 nations. All sides agreed Russia should change its behavior, and they joined together in threatening to place new sanctions that would target entire sectors of the Russian economy. Russia needs to seize that opportunity, Obama said. Russia needs to recognize that President-elect Petro Poroshenko is the legitimately elected leader of Ukraine and engage the government in Kiev. Obama emerged from 2 days of meetings with the G7, saying it was a chance for the gathered leaders to make sure they are in lockstep on a strategy going forward in uncertain times in Ukraine. He and British Prime Minister David Cameron both praised the united front that the US and Europe has maintained in dealing with Russia and the crisis in Ukraine. The president said the US is looking at sanctions that would maximize the consequences on Russia, but minimize the adverse effects on the economies of G7 nations. And moving their eyes to Asia, the Group of 7 industrialized nations said it is deeply concerned about tensions in the East and South China Sea, where Beijing is involved in territorial disputes with its neighbors. In a statement released after meeting Wednesday in Brussels, G7 leaders said they oppose unilateral attempts to assert territorial or maritime claims through use of intimidation, coercion, or force. China's claims in the South China Sea also overlap with those of the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. The United States has said it does not take a position in the disputes, but has strongly criticized China's actions. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel recently called Beijing's moves destabilizing. Beijing rejects such statements as foreign interference in its affairs. It has not commented on the G7 statement. In further news, Doctors Without Borders has released a statement saying the ongoing Ebola outbreak is resurging in Guinea, where the virus has killed about 200 people since it appeared in February, and now in neighbouring Sierra Leone. Health workers from the French group MSF appeared to be making progress against the outbreak, but Guinea and Sierra Leone are now reporting fresh cases, some in areas previously unaffected by the disease. Bert Janssens, Director of Operations for MSF, said the geographical spread of the disease in Guinea is a problem. It can take up to 3 weeks for symptoms, including fever, vomiting, body aches, and uncontrollable bleeding, to appear. There is no cure. Health workers are trying to isolate suspected cases. And those are the headlines. We'll bring more news to you next week. Have a nice weekend.